Hello, don't go anywhere. This is the wrong place, but it might turn out to be the right one. You're here with Joe, and
Aakash, and you're listening to the We've Got
we've got
Nothing
nothing
Left.
left podcast. Oh, I thought
I,
we were saying
I
that
thought I was going to say it.
together. Oh, all right. Let's just go get
Let's
into it.
just go.
Hello.
So, hello.
Been a while. It's been a long time.
It has been. It
Been a
has been.
long time.
Someone's been celebrating his birthday recently,
I have, and
and
it's not even my birthday yet.
yeah, it's just
but
pre-birthday.
but yeah, no. It has been a while. There's been a few. Well, I'd say two main uh movies that have come out in the Flash and Across the Spider Verse, but we are going to be focusing on the
Well,
Flash
we're
today.
focusing on the best superhero movie of all time,
According
as it was
to
stated.
according to 70% of Hollywood, it's the
Yeah,
best superhero movie of all time,
yeah.
which I can now say is absolute and utter shit.
Joe's just upset because we actually went to the premiere of The
We
Flash,
did,
not in London, in Romford, but
we did,
it's same difference. He even wore a little black tie and this
I
whole like
did, I
number
did. I
and
wore a tuxedo.
yeah,
I was
yeah. And
expecting James Gunn to walk out in the front,
do a
you know,
little, yeah,
in
like
Romford. There you go.
announcement. But the
Yeah.
worst thing was that I think you could tell the film
Oh
wasn't going to
mate.
go fantastically when the audience wasn't even filled up. There's about five people that had
It
turned up.
was insane. I mean, I think currently it's just no. I don't even think it's made its budget back yet.
It was budget was 200 million and it's made 210.9 million worldwide. Um,
And I
but
think we've said before we have to double that
yeah,
to
yeah,
make
yeah.
it the actual budget. So it's a big flop.
Do you know
It's a flop.
Black Adam's higher at the moment, and that's saying something.
Oh, do you know what? Just off the bat, just off the bat, I think it's a reflection of that people don't actually know what's happening anymore with this DC
Mm,
universe. Like, does this reset it? Is it a new thing? Like, in my eyes, I think it just resets it, and we're going to go from scratch now. But
yeah,
then
it
with
resets
James
the
Gunn, he's saying that
DCU.
Peacemaker goes into the new one and all that. It's like what? But just start again.
What Gunn wants, he gets, man. He's got the power.
Yeah, I know.
Uh, I think
But
this
like,
film it obviously lended this idea like well, they didn't plan to make a new universe when they obviously made this film, so
yeah,
it doesn't like naturally coincide with that, but it was obviously a good way of like Flash being a character that can reset the timeline. It did make
suppose.
sense for him to be the reason, and it was quite an organic way to do it. The only problem is, um, bloody, I'm gonna just say it straight up. George Clooney's technically the Batman again.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. It. Do you know what? Right. With so, I think if we're gonna, I don't think this is really a review as such, but more just a discussion about the whole fucking shit show that it was. Um, look, starting off with the good, I guess.
yeah, yeah. Strong
Um,
beginning.
because we're back to hating on things, but
Yeah,
back to going with the good first. I think that yeah, it was a strong-ish beginning. It was stupid, but it's still comic booky.
I mean,
It,
Batfleck got a good response.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. Batfleck got a
quite.
good response, but I've seen people on Twitter saying, "Oh, oh, it was too funny. He doesn't quip jokes."
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
It's
with
like,
Wonder Woman and
but
stuff.
like, Batman does because you're just used to the Zack Snyder version of him. And look,
Yeah,
I'm gonna say I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this, and I know you probably disagree, but Zack Snyder's Batman and Superman, they don't. It's not Batman and Superman. I'm sorry. More
mm,
Batman, but Superman, nah. Superman's supposed to be this, you know,
optimistic and hopeful.
optimistic, hopeful, family-friendly superhero. Like his
Yeah,
supervillains aren't like it's fucking businessman. Like you know what I mean? It's
yeah.
like Batman, obviously more. Okay, it could have worked more. I feel like Zack Snyder should have started with a Batman film. But we're not here to talk about that.
Yeah, that's a whole different video.
Um, but yeah, with the Flash, look, I wasn't going to see it for the Flash. I was going to see it for Michael Keaton's Batman. Because Michael Keaton is my favorite Batman of all time, undoubtedly. Or undoubtedly. How do you say that? Anyway, doesn't matter. And look, I enjoyed the what would you say it was the the heart of it in terms of trying to save his mum and fucking up the universe and all of this.
Or
But I
Flashpoint, really,
feel,
yeah.
yeah, but I feel like if they're doing that, why not make it? Why just not do Flashpoint? I
Honestly,
don't get why.
honestly, I completely
Like,
agree.
it doesn't make sense. Like, I know that you want to reset the universe, but just just end it. Just end it on Flashpoint with, you could have a final scene with the Flash returning with a note from Thomas Wayne to Bruce Wayne. And it just closes that universe off with a
In a nice way,
nice
yeah.
little bow. But now they've got fucking George Clooney coming out of a car, and the final shot of the DC, whatever this was, DCEU, I think it was
Yeah,
called,
yeah.
is Barry Allen standing, looking, going, and his tooth falls out, and that's it.
Yeah. Was that it, or was it a drunk
That was it.
Jason Momoa? I can't remember
Oh well,
what order
yeah,
it
that's
came.
true. That's true. But if you don't
He
stick around
actually
for
wasn't
that,
acting that day. He was just pissed.
well,
He
we've
just
got
turned up
Aquaman
into that.
2 to come, and apparently that is shit.
Yeah, the test audiences haven't done
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
I'm
no,
surprised if it just
they
doesn't get
might just
shelved.
scrap it, to be honest.
Give it a Batgirl.
They shelved Batgirl, and
Yeah,
people said that that was because of, oh, it's not good. It's not good for release. But I think that's because James Gunn came about and was like, don't see what I want. We'll get rid of it.
yeah,
End of.
yeah. And
And because he couldn't do that for Aquaman 2, I guess, because Jason Momoa is like a established big
it's like it's
actor.
part
Like
of
he's
Justice
probably,
League as
yeah,
well. He's like, yeah, he was
yeah,
already established as a character. What's funny is that when you mentioned George Clooney, because the idea is that this ending was like reshot, like about they had
yeah,
like three different endings, like in the courthouse scene where Barry gets his father acquitted of the murder of his mother. The initial ending was to have Michael Keaton turn up as the
yes,
initial Batman. I think Sasha Calle actually came back as
yeah.
Supergirl as well. She's
I
like on
remember
British and
seeing,
stuff.
I
Yeah,
remember
the leaked
seeing Michael
photos.
Keaton in like a suit,
Yeah, as Bruce Wayne.
yeah, coming out of a car. So it's probably that scene.
Yeah, which I
Um,
would have liked to have seen. But what's funny is that what they actually wanted to do was not have George Clooney come back. But have you heard about who they wanted to come back?
Christian Bale, yeah,
Yeah. And he
yeah,
refused
and he refused
multiple times.
because he did. He probably, nah, mate, I'm done with that
Yeah, yeah.
franchise. He's
He
done with it.
knows like
Yeah, he
he
knows
knows
he
that
did his
DC is just
trilogy. He's
yeah,
out.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
he's
the beauty of his trilogy that it was just a closed universe, you know? Like I think
yeah,
that's why Patterson's Batman is working so
yeah.
well.
It's Elseworlds, isn't it? And I think
Yeah,
with Keaton coming back, I just want to focus on Keaton because
yeah.
I've still got
He was the
focusing on the
Batman.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, with Keaton coming back, I do feel like it it wasn't a cop out because he didn't get his trilogy. He got Batman and Batman Returns. I love both of those films equally. Batman Returns has a special place in my heart, even though people don't really like it. Um, and he kind of didn't get his full. So, like Christian Bale got his trilogy. Robert Pattinson's definitely going to get his trilogy. Ben Affleck, but he's
Ish.
still, he's still.
Still a couple of films.
It wasn't really a trilogy that they were going for. It was a universe, an expanded
Yeah, yeah.
universe.
But he had a story told.
Yeah.
An arc.
Um, but
To an
but
extent.
but Keaton, obviously you've got Kilmer and Clooney, but we'll forget about that. But with Keaton, it was sort of, he was loved by everyone in the 80s, in the late 80s,
He
early 90s.
redefined the character as like
Yeah,
gritty
yeah,
Batman, like all black and stuff. And
yeah, yeah. And then suddenly he just was gone, and
I put
uh,
in this film, sorry to interrupt,
no, no, yeah.
he was sort of just there. Like as the
Oh
film
yeah,
progresses, that beginning was really nice. Like I found it quite funny because I'm coming
yeah,
at it from the perspective of not seeing Keaton as the Batman. I haven't got around to seeing Batman '89 yet, and
I
Joe's gonna kidnap me
will kidnap you and make you watch
so we can watch it. But so that was interesting from my perspective to see would this character's nostalgia feel like was it just fan service or would he serve
Do
the
you
story?
do you know what? For me, coming in as a fan of those films, it did feel a bit like, what? Why is he here? Um,
I
like
remember he
when
even said in the film, it was like,
yeah,
is this in the '89 universe? I was like, don't fucking
yeah, I
know.
was
They
like, I
didn't
don't
say.
know what this
They
is
haven't
now
said anything.
because the 89 like does the 89 universe eventually turn into the Zack Snyder universe then? I didn't get it. They didn't, and then I guess he was explaining like with those pieces of spaghetti.
Spaghetti.
And
That
I
was
remember
quite
you
good.
saying, yeah, I remember you saying you enjoyed that. But looking back on it, like I get Bruce Wayne is one like very, very smart. But to have him be the Tony Stark scientist
That's what
man
it
who
was.
explains the universe, it's like
Exposition and
what? Have like the back computer do it or something. Um, and when he was this, old rugged man, and Gotham didn't need Batman anymore, it was just a bit like, oh, what? Um,
yeah.
it felt like, do you know what it felt like? Uh, they had a film, and well, actually saw something like it was a timeline of the directors, and they've had like six different directors attached to this.
What to this Flash?
Yeah, there's
Blimey.
been a film, a story, and written, rewritten, written,
Because this has
rewritten,
been
trashed,
like
rewritten.
10 years in the making, this
Yeah,
film.
well, Ezra Miller was cast. They were cast when Grant
Grant
Gustin
Gustin.
was cast,
I think
and
he's like
now,
filming, yeah,
yeah,
Flash. Or,
and
yeah.
now Grant Gustin is done, and Ezra Miller
Is
is just they've just started
yeah, that just goes to show. Just
and
like
ended at the same time. Oh,
yeah, yeah. I
well,
mean,
I guess kind of we have to speak about Ezra Miller slightly.
yeah, yeah.
Obviously
And
they have done some terrible, terrible things. Um, many of which I don't specifically know about, and
yeah,
personally think that maybe this film should have been trashed. And but obviously it's all of those people shouldn't be punished because of one
it's a lot of
person's
people's
actions.
work that goes into these
Yeah,
films, and yeah, the idea was to either reshoot it with potentially Grant Gustin. That's what fans were saying, which would have taken
yeah,
longer. It would have
yeah.
been
That would have been a
cool.
nightmare.
Yeah, exactly. It's just, yeah, it was this idea of getting this film out after all the
Yeah,
delays,
but
and
look, go on,
yeah,
sorry.
judging it as a film on its own and not taking Ezra's
Yeah,
actions,
yeah.
sort
I
of
mean,
focusing on that.
it's funny though
Was,
because like every time we've spoken about something over the part, maybe well, not every time, but a few times, we've had to mention someone who's
yeah,
been
no,
who's been
exactly.
cancelled.
J.K. Rowling,
J.K. Rowling,
um,
James Gunn,
James
yeah,
Corden.
James Court. Well, yeah, he's just been cancelled
But
because
yeah,
he's flat. Um,
you know what
but
was
look,
funny in this
go
film
on.
was it's just the amount of memes about Dark Flash, Ezra being the actual villain was
Yeah,
just
well, no, yeah,
oh god.
well, yeah, yeah. That's
It
the
was like
thing.
in reality was meeting with what art imitates reality, or
Yeah,
whatever that saying was.
yeah.
And it takes you out of the film. That's the only issue. It takes you out of the film a bit.
Yeah, it does. But do you know what? I think they gave a
Oh,
very good performance.
especially they carried the film like both the Barrys, Ezra's performance of both the
Well,
Barrys.
yeah. Let's talk about Barry too.
Who's that? Is that
Um,
the long hair Barry?
yeah, I
An 18-year-old
yeah,
Barry with 5 o'clock shadow.
yeah. And also like 18-year-old Barry going, "Oh yeah, dude," and all this shit. And it was like Shaggy from Scooby Doo times 10.
Kids just laugh.
Like that. And it was like,
That's just Ezra's laugh.
yeah, literally. And it was like it
It was
just
really,
didn't suit it. And it was like,
yeah.
no,
Was it Barry
no.
or was it just like Ezra seeping out? It's really hard because it's
Yeah, I
like,
don't know, because it was just like this really awkward guy later on in life. And I thought it was like a
well, it's
variant of him that's
different.
really confident and everything.
Yeah, but it was different
But
upbringings. That's the thing.
Yeah, no, but it wasn't. It wasn't because he was like, oh, I remember doing Speedy Gonzalez and I remember doing this and that and that. Like it was the same guy. It was the same person.
I don't know. I think I literally just watched actually one of these like clips on like events in your childhood and like these formative moments which like traumatize you and
Ew.
the
Oh,
death.
bless me. Sorry.
Bless you. I
It's
think the death of Barry's mother completely put him on a different trajectory, and I think it
yeah.
was quite
Okay.
believe. It really did showcase a light version of Barry and a dark
Yeah,
version, and that interaction with the monkey was really like touching as well. Like Ezra spoke
what?
about it actually in the
The
premiere.
monkey?
Yeah, like the monkey that his mum gives him, and then
Oh my
Barry
god.
two's like
I
throwing darts on it. But
thought you were meaning like an actual monkey. I was like,
no,
I
no,
don't remember that.
no.
Gorilla
Yeah,
Grodd?
yeah. I think like yeah, it stands a testament to their acting and the emotional points of this film. They were hitting. I just wish they did
Yeah.
more of it. You barely saw the mum, really, and I get like
Yeah.
film isn't well, the film is largely around her, but it's like the whole Flashpoint stuff. It could have been a little bit more
Yeah.
faithful to the comics, and they would have had if this film had such a stronger script, the inclusion of two Barrys, Batman, Supergirl. It could have been so good. It could have been the best superhero movie of all time,
Do you know what
potentially.
though? Do you know what?
What?
Saying that, it didn't feel overstuffed. I wouldn't
No, and
say.
and it shouldn't be as well. It should just be a good story about Flash.
Yeah, but it didn't feel overstuffed, but it did feel sort of
Lackluster.
yeah.
Like
So
it's
like
missing a shell.
yeah, and it, its anchor should have been the emotional link between him and his mum, not the multiverse.
Yeah,
Um,
even that final battle was so empty just on the desert. And I was
yeah,
rewatching Man of Steel, and that is a setting in the film. But it's like the Kryptonians are coming down, and they're like, if you don't give us Superman or Supergirl in this context, we're going to destroy the planet. But you don't see it. It's just like a background event. Like there was no stakes. The
no,
continuity was wrong because I was rewatching Man of Steel. That happened at night time when Zod sends his initial
yeah,
message. And then
yeah,
in the film, it's like maybe it could have been a different part of America, but I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah,
Or and like um, uh, Batman and Supergirl, they're gone at
they're
some
just
point.
but
They're just gone.
Batman's just lying on the floor at one point.
Yeah, they're both dead. They're both dead.
Oh
Um,
yeah. Well, not
and
according to
it's
Barry too, mate. He was going back in time
no,
all the time,
yeah,
and he realized the only way to save him was PS2 graphics. That was the
right.
only way.
Let's fucking get onto that because fuck
Yeah, what was
me.
your first when was we first realize it? Because we looked at each other in the film
I
when it started
yeah,
happening. It was the
I think when
babies,
he
and then
yeah. Well, the I've seen people try to defend this shit, and it pisses me off. Right?
the justification of the
The,
Speed Force view.
yeah, and it's like, oh, it's stylized because it's Barry's vision in the when he's running.
He's
No,
got
it's
some bloody
not. It's just
glasses,
shit
mate.
CGI. Like
Honestly, don't
literally,
justify it with something like
there's
that.
there's
Like,
a bit where you're looking at Ben Affleck's face when he's riding the bat cycle, and
yeah,
it
with the
literally
cow.
looks like they've cut his mouth and eyes off of his face and put it into the cow,
Oh
and it just
no.
looks hideous. It's like don't try and justify that. But anyway, that's actually good CGI compared to what we get when he's running back in time.
Yeah,
Fuck
that's the
me,
Chrono Bowl. That's what it is.
yeah.
That's what it's
And
called.
I mean, first of all, like at first I was sort of like, okay, yeah, I get it. It looks stylized
Speed
because
Force. It was a new
yeah,
environment. You're getting used to it, but
but not. I mean, the bits where like the actual scenes in the past where they're running down,
yeah,
like that's
Cavill.
fine. I
Like
get
how
that,
how
but
can
they
you
did
bring
look
Cavill back?
shit.
They did
It
him
looked
so
terrible.
dirty. Honestly, it was Scorpion King vibes
Yeah.
from the Mummy.
Yes. It was rubber. It was. They looked
Scorpion
like
King was
rubber.
better. Scorpion
Yeah.
King was better.
But then the thing that makes it worse was the hideous cameos from like so many dead
I
actors.
I made a list of all the cameos actually,
Go for it.
and
I want to hear it.
so yeah, so we had excluding like the ones like Aquaman and Wonder Woman,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
uh we had obviously Adam West coming in as the initial Batman.
Disgusting.
We had Superman and Supergirl, who never actually went on screen
Disgusting.
together.
No.
Um, we had Jay Garrick, who loads of people thought was Teddy Sears from the
It's not.
Flash TV show,
Yeah.
who played Jay and Zoom. It just wasn't him. They completely just stole his like. Apparently, it's not an actor of note, which is such a
Yeah.
awful thing to say. I bet it was just a CGI creation. I bet it was no one. And then to top it off, the only thing that moderately surprised me in this film that got like applause was Nick Cage. But
Uh,
yeah,
Yeah, even then, it just looked terrible. And what? Look, I chuckled at it because it was like, oh yeah, I know about the story of Tim Burton wanting to make a Superman
mm.
film, and and it failed and it didn't get made, obviously. But then I thought to myself, and I remember saying to you, what a general audience is going to get out of that? They're going to sit there and go, why the fuck is Nick Cage Superman now? What is this?
Yeah.
But oh, they'll go, oh yeah, Christopher Reeve was Superman. Oh yeah, or even I remember, I recognize that guy. But
It's all
Nick
about
Cage is Superman. They're gonna go, and you know what? If they don't even know who Nick Cage is, or like a passing resemblance, they won't even fucking recognize that PS2
it.
looking
It's
fucking.
just that there was no emotional connection to the characters, and it was such a. I was really like sad because I thought they were lying about Grant Gustin when the director said that they couldn't fit him in. I was like, ah, this is a
They had
ploy. It's
no space for
misdirection.
them. I mean,
What space are you
come
talking? All
on.
you had was Adam West running down the corridor. That was
Yeah,
not like
yeah,
significant at all. And Grant Gustin made this character, man, and I really wanted
yeah,
like
yeah,
an
yeah.
interaction to a full circle moment because obviously Ezra had a cameo in
In the
Crisis Against
Flash, yeah.
Infinite Earths. I think that was the episode, and then um yeah, and then to not have a full circle moment, it would just make so much sense. Well,
The
I really wanted to
CW
see
did
them
it better.
like, yeah, exactly. And
The
you know, the
cameos,
state of
they
the
did it better.
CW near the end, but
Because
like,
Brandon Routh is supposed to be Christopher Reeve Superman. It's
yeah.
oh mate, it's a shambles. It's a
And I,
shambles.
I, and then in that whole Chrono Ball sequence, the way that it just ended with Dark Flash, it was so like I
It,
just wrote, it's not intimidating at all. It was
no.
so obvious, and I did like the idea of Barry becoming like that Dark Flash when he's trying to save Supergirl and he's getting like so obsessed with it. But in reality, all he did was electrocute Barry for a bit, and then he just killed the younger version of
Yeah.
himself by accident. It was so like, what? That's your whole conclusion?
Yeah. And you
Like,
know what as well? Something I think I again turned to you. There was a lot of moments in this where I turned to you and was like, what the fuck just happened? But I remember at one point I turned to you and I was just like, wait a minute, hold on. Who actually killed his mum?
yeah, it was
Did
like
you
end of
just
the
slip
movie.
on a knife? A knife? On a knife? Like, what the? Who the fuck killed his mum?
Well,
Well,
the director
well,
obviously confirmed who it was. It was obvious he
yeah.
did it.
Reverse Flash.
Yeah, if you've seen the TV show,
But
you'd
who the
know.
fuck? But there's but
Well, he's too quick. He's too quick. You can't see him.
well, apparently as well, they're like, oh well, if the Flash performs well, there's definitely going to be a sequel, and now I can guarantee there will not be a sequel.
They didn't want that whole Sinestro thing with like showing him right at the end of the film, and then
Yeah,
for it to like not what. Who's Sinestro's also yellow.
true.
DC is just using the
It's
same
true.
colors, but
Yeah,
um, yeah, it's just like when
yeah,
Flash, the TV show raised the bar so high with the death of Barry's mum, his whole journey as a hero, and Flashpoint going back in time, to then do a new story, which it definitely stood on its own feet. It didn't exceed the expectations. It didn't meet the bar,
no.
but there was no point of doing it.
I just quickly though, I want to talk about um I'd like to call it manufactured hype around this film.
Oh, the marketing around this film
The
was like,
marketing around
but
this
they got
film
the
was
date wrong, first of all.
dreadful. Yeah, yeah, right. Yeah, that's one thing. Because on
But
all the posters in the UK, it was saying at first, I remember it saying 16th of June. Then I saw it on a bus and it said the 15th of June. And then I went to look at tickets on View, pick
hmm,
up View Cinema,
yeah,
14th of June. So that's probably why no one was there because they didn't
it wasn't
know.
previews, was it?
No. Like it was
Wow.
on all day on the
Yeah.
14th. So it's probably why no one was there because you've been advertising it the
And then
next
the
two
film,
days.
the film started and it just said Flash. He was like, "Isn't it called The Flash?" Like it was just like
Yeah, yeah,
they got the wrong film here.
yeah.
It just was like it's just a TV show. Just playing it on loop.
It just felt like they just wanted to get it out and be done with it.
Oh yeah, it was completely like the thing is, it's just like when you delay a film, you kind of want it to then like have the work put into it, so then it makes it worth that delay. But it completely felt. I think I wrote this again, and I think there's this common issue with the films coming out at the moment because a lot of them are filmed during COVID that you might have this idea of like it feeling empty and not enough stakes because there's no public
Yeah,
extras in it. I mean, there definitely was elements of that, but maybe that final battle sort of showcases how it feels so sparse. But it's that combination with a lack of like good script writing and reshoots and public controversy around your main actor. It's just you're asking for trouble,
yeah.
really.
I think as well. Sorry, I'm so snotty at the minute. Hay fever. I think as well with. Do you know what I thought after this was that where James Gunn was being like, "This is the best superhero movie of all time," and
Yeah.
someone said, "Oh, what's your favorite movie of 2023 so far?" And he was like, "The Flash." Like, not Guardians 3? Fucking seriously? Like,
Yeah.
what do you mean?
Yeah, he's
Like, if you
clearly
really
thought
love these characters, right, then you wouldn't like The Flash. Because, like, I don't know. I don't know.
yeah,
It
the
just
fact that
felt,
you shelve potentially we will never know, but Batgirl could have potentially been a better film than The Flash, but you keep The Flash going because it's like I don't know,
yeah.
the amount of money that you spent on it or like him being an initial Justice League character and it's just like the cameos. He's thinking with this studio executive brain now as opposed to the brain of a really good
And I
filmmaker that he is.
really hope that doesn't affect things because, I mean, you all heard how much we loved Guardians 3. Um, and we know that James Gunn is an amazing filmmaker. Um, and I just hope it doesn't affect, his way of making the DCU.
Yeah, and being
Um,
authentic. You don't want him to lose his
yeah,
authenticity.
no, no. But with this sort of manufactured hype around this film, where they were saying it's the best film ever made, and you had all these trailers saying, "Wow, The Flash, the best film of 2023," and you'll cry, you'll shit your pants. Like I was literally from beginning to end watching, just watching it. I know it sounds stupid. I know obviously you're watching it, but I was just watching. I
I
wasn't
think
involved. I wasn't. There were a few times, obviously, where the member berries from South Park hit. It's like, oh, remember the Batman '89 theme. Remember the Batwing and all this, and it's just
the
like,
Batmobile, man.
first of
Completely
all,
wasted
he
that,
didn't even
man.
fucking use the Batmobile. He didn't get in it. He
He
didn't
slept
drive
in it.
it.
Not Batman, yeah. Ezra
Yeah,
just
they
slept in
didn't. I just
it.
realised I didn't fucking use it. And with the bat, the bat when he flies the Batwing into the shields, it just kills himself.
Yeah.
He just kills himself. It's like this guy, right, who is maybe 45 minutes ago just explained the multiverse to also one of the smartest people in the DC universe. Full stop. Flew his aeroplane into a shielded alien ship with no hope of survival.
It wasn't
Just
like it was even sacrificial. He didn't
no,
do it to like make a statement. He
no.
thought it was gonna work.
He was like, he just went, oh, yep, right, let's fucking do this. Hey, just land your ship, right, and punch your way out of it and join the battle on by hand.
Oh
What are you
God.
doing?
Even
Uh,
Barry's reaction was like, "Oh." What?
Harry's like, "Oh, the ship's shielded. Don't hit it." And he's like, "Roger
Yeah.
that." It's like, but
Yeah.
but but then beforehand, right? Before that, before he actually crashes into it, it is established to his eyes that it is shielded. I think they fire at it or something, and it
He,
bounces
he
off.
he can even turn his neck in this new suit, so he's got no excuse of why he couldn't have seen it. So
Do you know what? Right? Do you know what?
it's a
It
non.
wasn't.
They didn't understand the characters.
No. And look, it wasn't a shambles in terms of. It wasn't shit like something like Thor:
Oh
Love and
no.
Thunder was, or something like. It wasn't shit. Like it wasn't just outright bollocks. I could watch it again.
I think that's one of the factors that is Sasha Cal's performance as Supergirl.
Yeah.
She
Now,
held that movie
obviously,
up.
yeah, she was brilliant, and I think that is a loss.
Yeah,
Um, because
because she won't be Supergirl potentially
no,
again now
well, she could be. Who knows?
as
But I
another
think, do you know
character.
what? I think she could
Well,
be
yeah,
because people have actually enjoyed her
yeah,
performance
yeah.
in
I'm
the show.
sure. I'm sure they listen to the fans and just
Yeah,
make another variant of her potentially.
yeah,
But I
yeah,
love her backstory. I thought it was awesome.
yeah. And I liked that General Zod had. Oh, we need to talk about General Zod, but well, I
Oh
liked
mate,
how General Zod had found Kal-El's pod as a baby and just killed him.
the infant did not survive.
Yeah, the infant did not survive. But yeah, with General Zod and Michael Shannon in particular,
Oh
and
yeah,
he's
he
just
is
like, yeah,
one of
this is
the
just
best
like,
villains, and they
yeah,
completely
he is one
wasted
of the
him.
best villains. But this, he was just like, I remember, I think you might have actually mentioned it, but I did see it in an article. I can't remember on what, probably Vanity Fair or
Yeah,
Variety or something.
yeah. He
And
did
he
like a
was
career
like,
breakdown.
yeah, and he was like, oh, I wanted to get Zack Snyder's approval and blessing and all this, but he also said he was like, "Oh, all this multiverse shit. It's like I don't
It's
understand
like,
it,
what is the
and
multiverse?
it's just like empty acting, which is
Yeah.
true. It's just
Oh,
like,
that's what he did. He
yeah,
he was there for 3 weeks,
yeah, he put on a green costume and
but
he
he wasn't given much
reenacted
to
a scene
like.
that he filmed probably 12 years ago.
Yeah, and it's a shame because they really could have utilized him in such a great way. And I really like the idea that we finally got to see the codex get extracted from
Yeah,
Supergirl because
yeah,
that was something I
yeah,
always wanted to explore in this Man of Steel, which I'm actually watching right now. I'm rewatching it, and I've wanted to see
yeah,
what that would have been like. And but obviously it's a Flash film, but it just sort of happens, and then you don't get any sort of payoff. And it's like, yeah, I feel like that's the thing. Supergirl was a supporting character in this, so they could only do it to an extent,
mm,
this interaction between her and Zod. But Zod's cruel. Zod's like he'll do anything to protect
yeah.
Krypton. We should have seen something brutal from him that really got Barry like agitated. I know obviously he killed her, but like I don't
Yeah, he
know.
killed her, but
Yeah.
it was just that was not a gimmick. It
It
was
was
just,
clinical. It was just like surgery, you know. It was never
yeah,
personal. Which I
no,
mean, I guess it understandably why because he was just doing it to protect the planet. He wasn't as pissed as he was with Cavill, but Supergirl was pissed. Like I don't know. I just
yeah.
needed a bit. Well, you know what the thing is? Their interaction was stronger than Barry's interaction with Dark Flash, who was the main
Oh,
villain.
Dark Flash was just fucking what the fuck.
Was it
But
Savitar? Was it like
no, it's just its own thing, I guess.
a variant
Yeah,
of
but like what?
What
Shit.
was he trying to do? Tell me right now what he's trying to do.
So
In
Dark
about five
Flash
words.
was 5 words.
Dark Flash was.
Save his mum from dying. That's what he was trying to do.
But he'd be like 100 years old after by the
Yeah,
time he
but
gets to
yeah,
Mom,
exactly.
I'm back.
I get the point that he just kept trying and through trying, like
I'm
it was
obsessive and
inevitable that it was never going to work.
yeah,
But
yeah.
also, like, how the fuck is he not dead from all of the shards of metal in him?
Mm,
Like, I know he's healing, but like, he's not healing inside with all the metal in him. Like, one of those
that's
metal shards would be in his heart.
well, the thing is no one cared about him, so that's why he didn't die.
No, but look, I mean, you know, all in all, it it was nostalgia bait, to be honest.
Yeah.
With a slight anchor of emotion that could
Mm.
have been utilized so much better than it was, but it was member berries. It was just, oh, here's even in the trailers, it was like the
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
music, and it's like there's nothing iconic, or there's nothing
There's nothing new
pulling
as
people
well.
to the Flash. It's
Yeah,
people coming to see Michael Keaton's Batman,
Keaton.
and
Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
It was like one last night at the Apollo or something. He was just sort of
yeah,
there as a
yeah,
last hurrah. Like it was just a bit like let's do the old classics, which they just didn't even do. Like he didn't drive the Batmobile. He didn't really do any crime fighting. It was this multiversal shenanigan. It was all
yeah.
the action figures. You get your Batman figure, Supergirl, Flash, a couple of Kryptonians,
That's
throw
what
them
Michael
around,
Shannon said. That's what he
yeah,
said. Yeah.
and just
But
play around.
look, for me, the Flash was all fart and no shit.
I think that's the perfect image to go out on, mate.
Yeah.
I can't really say
Well,
anything else.
no, I think I've
It's a bit of a short one, but I ain't got nothing left. I
no,
don't know
I ain't
about
got
you.
nothing left either. No.
I mean,
Goodbye.
we're gonna go watch Indy
We
tomorrow,
are going to see
so
Indiana Jones tomorrow.
yeah.
And I'm sure we'll do one on that next week because we have been gone for a long time. And
We've
it's,
been watching films, we've been
we have
spending
been
time
watching
with each
films.
other,
Yeah,
so
it's true. In person,
exactly.
not over this podcast.
Yeah.
But look, we'll be back in full force until we're gone again for a
Yeah,
while. But we've got to live our lives. What can we say?
exactly. Create good
But
content for you.
look, on one last note, DCU is dead. The DC, oh shit, I fucked it up.
The
Hold on, wait.
DCEU.
The DCEU is dead. Long live the DCU.
The
Until that's
DCU
dead as
hasn't
well.
even born yet, man.
No,
Like,
no, no.
oh
But
dear.
look, here's to Indiana Jones, and hopefully it's not shit.
Yeah, mate. We'll find out very soon.
Yeah. All right. Well, I've got nothing left.
Yeah, me neither, mate.